When everything falls apart, Harper Mitchell wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stepped into the marble lobby of the Azure Pearl Resort. The Miami heat was suffocating, making her camera bag feel twice as heavy. She had been hired by Coastal Marketing Group to photograph the grand opening of this luxury property, and she needed every shot to be perfect. The resort was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Atlantic Ocean. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings. Everything screamed wealth and exclusivity. Harper felt out of place in her simple sundress and worn sneakers, but she pushed the feeling aside. She was here to work, not to fit in. She spent the morning capturing the spa area, the restaurants, and the elaborate lobby. But she needed something special, something that would make her portfolio stand out. Then she remembered the rooftop infinity pool. The concierge had mentioned it briefly. A pool that seemed to blend right into the ocean horizon. Harper took the elevator to the top floor. When the doors opened, she gasped. The pool stretched before her like liquid glass, reflecting the cloudless sky. Palm trees swayed gently in the breeze. The view of the Atlantic was absolutely stunning. Best of all, the area was completely empty. The resort would not officially open for another 3 hours. The fall that changed everything. Harper approached the edge of the pool, framing shots in her mind. She stepped backward to get a wider angle. Her heel caught on something slippery, a wet spot on the tile from recent cleaning. Her arms windmilled as she tried to catch her balance. It was no use. She fell backward into the pool with a tremendous splash. The cold water shocked her system. She surfaced quickly, gasping and coughing. Her white sundress clung to her body, now nearly see-through. Her camera, thank goodness, had stayed above water on its neck strap. "Are you okay?" A deep male voice called out. Harper turned, squinting through the chlorine burning her eyes. Someone else was in the pool. A man she had not noticed before. "I'm fine," she managed to croak out. "Just clumsy." Strong hands gripped her arms, helping her toward the shallow end. "Let me help you out of there." He guided her to the steps. Harper felt her face burning with embarrassment as her dress stuck to every curve. She could barely see without her glasses, which had fallen off somewhere in the pool. "Thank you," she said, shivering despite the heat. "I didn't know anyone else was up here." "I was doing laps," the man explained. His voice was warm and concerned. "You're sure you're not hurt?" "Just my pride," Harper tried to joke, but her voice shook. The man climbed out first. He was tall and athletic, with water streaming from his dark hair. He offered her his hand. When Harper took it, she felt a spark of electricity that had nothing to do with the accident. Once on solid ground, her camera had water droplets on the lens. Her phone was completely soaked. Her dress was ruined. "Oh no," she whispered, examining her camera. "This cost $5,000. If it's broken, I'm finished." "The resort's insurance should cover that," the man said calmly. "You fell on their property." "I wasn't supposed to be here yet," Harper admitted. "I came early to get shots before the opening. This is completely my fault." The man was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke with quiet authority. "We need to get you dried off. There's a shower room through that door. Let's warm you up before you go into shock." Harper wanted to argue, but her teeth were already chattering. She nodded and followed him toward a door she had not noticed earlier. Darkness and truth. The shower room was small, but luxurious. Marble walls, multiple shower heads, heated towel racks. The man grabbed 2 fluffy towels and handed one to Harper. "Thank you," she said softly, wrapping herself in the warmth. "I'll wait outside," he said, turning toward the exit, but just as he reached the door, the lights went out. The room plunged into complete darkness. "What happened?" Harper's voice cracked with alarm. "Probably a circuit breaker," the man answered calmly. "The resort is still testing all the systems before opening. Don't move. I'll find the door." She heard him walking, then a thud and a muffled curse. "Are you okay?" She called out. "It's fine. Just ran into something." "Listen, I can't find the door handle in the dark. Do you have your phone?" "It was in my pocket when I fell. Definitely dead." "Mine's in the locker downstairs," he sighed. Useless. They stood in the darkness, hearing only each other's breathing and water dripping somewhere. 2 strangers, soaking wet, trapped together. Worst day of my career, Harper said into the darkness. To her surprise, the man laughed. The sound was rich and genuine. At least it will be memorable. She found herself smiling despite everything. Listen, he said. We're both freezing. I can hear the showers running. Why don't we rinse off the chlorine? It's bad for your skin. And in the dark, we can't see each other anyway. Harper hesitated. But he was right. Her skin was already starting to itch. Okay, but stay on your side. Absolutely, he agreed. She heard a shower turn on across the room. Harper felt her way to another shower head and turned it on. Warm water cascaded over her, washing away the pool chemicals. It felt amazing after the cold shock of the pool. Conversations in the dark. What brings you to the Azure Pearl? The man asked. His voice echoed slightly off the marble. Work, Harper answered. I'm a photographer. I'm shooting the opening event. I wanted to capture the pool without people in it. Perfect, clean water. Well, you almost got it, he said. She could hear the smile in his voice. Harper laughed despite herself. The effect was definitely dramatic. What made you become a photographer? He asked. Topper felt strangely comfortable talking in the darkness. There was something freeing about the anonymity, because cameras catch what people miss. They capture truth in a fraction of a second. Every photograph tells a story, even if it's not the one you planned. That's beautiful, he said quietly. Do you love what you do? Most of the time, she admitted honestly. Though today isn't the best example, but it will make a great story, he pointed out. The day you fell in a pool and ended up showering with a stranger. If I don't get fired for ruining expensive equipment, Harper muttered. You won't, he said with complete confidence. How can you be so sure? Intuition. Harper turned off her shower and squeezed water from her hair. She found her towel by touch and wrapped herself up. The warm fabric felt wonderful. I'm finished, she said softly. Me too, he replied. She heard his shower turn off. Now they stood in the complete darkness again. The air felt thick and charged with something Harper could not quite name. Not cold anymore? His voice came from closer than she expected. A little, Harper admitted. She felt him move nearer. The air shifted. Then his warm hand touched her shoulder gently, and she jumped. Sorry, he said quickly. I just thought we could sit together. Share body heat until the power comes back on.
Ice.
But Harper's heart was pounding like a drum. Still, she was genuinely cold. All right, they sat on the floor with their backs against the wall. He was close enough that she could feel warmth radiating from him. Sometimes his shoulder brushed hers. Each light touch sent electricity through her body. Can I say something? Harper asked quietly. Of course. I'm scared to start over. If I lose this job, if my camera is ruined, I don't know what I'll do. Photography is everything I have. It's not true, he said gently. You have talent. You have passion. Those things don't disappear because of one accident. How do you know I have talent? You haven't seen my work. I hear it in your voice when you talk about photography, he said. That's how someone sounds when they were born to do exactly what they're doing. Harper felt tears prick her eyes. Why did this stranger's words touch her so deeply? Thank you, she whispered. His hand found hers in the darkness. Warm, strong, reassuring, their fingers intertwined. The world seemed to hold its breath. Everyone has moments when everything falls apart, he said. What matters is what we build from the pieces. They sat like that, hand in hand. Two strangers connected by an impossible moment. Despite the chaos of the day, the ruined camera, the embarrassment, Harper felt something new growing inside her. Something like hope. When the lights come on, suddenly light flooded the room. Harper squeezed her eyes shut against the brightness. When she slowly opened them, she saw him for the first time. He was incredibly handsome. Dark hair still damp, strong jawline. But it was his eyes that caught her. Deep blue, like the sky after a storm. He was staring at her with the same wonder she felt. Hi, he said with a slow smile. Hi, Harper breathed, barely audible. They looked at each other. The magic of anonymity was gone, replaced by something else. Something electric and alive and almost touchable. Then reality crashed back. Harper realized she was sitting in just a towel, her hair a mess, probably with mascara running down her face. She jumped to her feet. I need to go. I have to check my camera and change before the event. He stood too. Harper tried not to stare at the water droplets still glistening on his skin.
Wait,
he said. At least give me your contact information. In case you need help with the camera repair or insurance. Thanks, but I'll manage, Harper said, gathering her wet clothes. She needed to leave before she said something stupid. Are you sure? I'm sure, Harper said from the doorway. Thank you for everything. She hurried out, clutching her camera and clothes. Her heart hammering not from embarrassment anymore, but from something much more complicated. The shocking discovery back in her hotel room. Harper examined her things. The camera was wet, but might be salvageable. Her phone would not turn on. Her dress was ruined, but none of that seemed to matter compared to the memory of a warm hand in the darkness. She did not know who he was. She would probably never see him again. Just a random encounter. A strange, almost perfect coincidence that would become a story to tell friends someday. That's what she thought. She was wrong. 3 hours later, Harper stood in the Azure Pearl's grand ballroom, holding her backup camera. Her nerves were shot. She had managed to dry her hair, fix her makeup, and change into a simple black dress. Professional enough, if modest. The room glowed with Miami's wealthy elite. Champagne flowed freely. Laughter rang through the air. Everyone wanted to be seen. Harper moved through the crowd invisibly, as always. Her camera captured fleeting moments. A couple laughing over drinks. A waiter balancing a tower of glasses. A diamond necklace catching chandelier light. Ladies and gentlemen, a voice boomed through the speakers. The crowd quieted. All eyes turned to a small stage at the front. Harper raised her camera, ready for the announcement. It is my great honor to introduce the man who made this magnificent resort possible, the visionary, the creator of the Azure Pearl. Please welcome our CEO and founder, Dominic Rhodes. Applause exploded through the room. Harper zoomed in with her camera. A man stepped onto the stage. Her finger froze on the shutter button. It was him. The man from the pool. The stranger she had shared a shower with in the darkness. Dominic Rhodes stood in the spotlight. Perfect suit. Confident posture. That same gaze that made her heart stop. And in that instant, Harper felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. She had shared a shower with a billionaire. With her client, oh God, not this. Harper lowered her camera, trying to hide in the crowd. Maybe he would not recognize her. Maybe in different lighting in this dress, she was just another face among hundreds. Dominic spoke. His voice was confident, smooth, familiar. The same voice that had whispered that everything would be okay. I especially want to thank the team from Coastal Marketing for their amazing work, Dominic continued, including the photographer who I'm told is capturing incredible shots today. Harper Mitchell, please come to the stage. No, please no. Every eye turned to her. The world stopped spinning. He was looking directly at her. For a split second, his speech faltered. Barely noticeable, but enough to make Harper's heart race. Then he recovered, maintaining his professional composure. Harper, he said, extending his hand. She had no choice but to approach. Walking felt like moving through a dream. She climbed onto the stage. His handshake was warm and firm, but his eyes held tension, recognition, something that could not be hidden. Thank you for your work today, Dominic said. I look forward to seeing the results. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes, Harper whispered, using every ounce of strength to keep her voice from shaking. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Her camera clicked automatically, while her mind spun in chaos. Dominic Rhodes, billionaire. She had read about him in magazines. Tech genius. Real estate mogul. The Azure Pearl was his pride, his return to his roots, and she was just a photographer who had accidentally ended up in a shower with him. When the celebration ended, Harper was packing her equipment. A man in a dark suit approached. Miss Mitchell. Mr. Rhodes would like to speak with you privately. About what? She asked, trying not to show her trembling. He didn't specify. If you'll follow me. It was not a request. Harper followed him through the resort corridors into an elevator. To a penthouse suite that cost more than her monthly salary, the man knocked. "Mr. Rhodes, Miss Mitchell is here." "Thank you, James. You can go." Dominic stood by the window, jacket off, tie loosened, just like he had looked by the pool. Harper's heart betrayed her by squeezing tight. The door closed. They were alone. "We need to talk," Dominic said. Harper set down her bag and crossed her arms. "I didn't know who you were." "I know," he nodded. "And I didn't know you worked for my marketing department, though I probably should have asked your name." "You suggested we not use names," Harper reminded him. "Yes," he said calmly, stepping closer. "I thought it would be simpler. Apparently I was wrong." Harper laughed shortly, nervously. "Simpler? This is a disaster. I took a shower with you in the dark. I held your hand. I said things I don't tell anyone. And the whole time you were Dominic Rhodes. A billionaire. My client. Someone who lives in a world I have no access to." Dominic's jaw tightened. "What do you mean, not your level?" "It means you're you," Harper said, gesturing at the luxurious suite. "And I'm a photographer who almost lost her job and drowned a $5,000 camera. We live in different universes." He moved closer. His voice became softer, almost a whisper. "Do we?" He was right in front of her now. So close Harper could smell his cologne. Expensive, subtle, but intoxicatingly attractive. "'Cause earlier it felt different," he said quietly. "In the shower room? In the darkness? We weren't a billionaire and a photographer. We were just two people who found each other." "That was before I knew who you are," Harper replied, but her voice lacked conviction. "Did knowing change what you felt?" Dominic asked. She could not answer, because the truth was no, it did not change anything. She was drawn to him just as powerfully as before, if not more so now that she could see his face and see how his gaze softened when he looked at her. "This is all too complicated," Harper whispered. "It doesn't have to be," he said calmly. "Harper, I haven't been able to get you out of my head since the lights came on. I keep thinking about how you talked about your work, about how you felt next to me. I don't care about circumstances. I just know I want to see you again." "But you're my client," she protested. "Technically, I'm your client's client," he corrected with a slight smile. "And the event is over. Your work is done. No conflict of interest, except that you're a billionaire and I'm nobody," Harper said. Dominic's face became serious. "Don't say that. Don't devalue yourself. You're talented, passionate, beautiful. You made me feel more in 1 hour than I've felt in years." "That's not nobody, Harper." She wanted to believe him. God, how she wanted to. "I don't know," she breathed. Dominic nodded slowly. "Then let's keep it simple. Have dinner with me tomorrow night. Just dinner. No pressure, no expectations. Let me prove that what we had was real, not just an accident." Harper bit her lip, weighing the risks. Dinner with Dominic Rhodes could be a disaster for so many reasons. But walking away, refusing him, refusing this spark, this possibility of something extraordinary, felt so much worse. "Gay," she finally said. One dinner. A genuine smile spread across Dominic's face, and Harper's heart flipped. "One dinner," he repeated. "I'll pick you up at 7. We're something comfortable? We're not going to some fancy restaurant." As Harper left that night, her mind whirled with possibilities and fears. But beneath it all was a flutter of hope. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes you have to fall before you can truly fly, and sometimes the person who catches you turns out to be exactly who you were searching for all along. The first real date the next evening. Harper stood in front of her closet for the 4th time, changing outfits again. Comfortable could mean anything. Finally, she settled on jeans, a silk blouse, and low heels. Simple but put together, at exactly 7 o'clock, there was a knock at her door. She took a deep breath and opened it. Dominic stood on her doorstep, wearing dark jeans and a button-down shirt with the collar open. Relaxed, confident, and devastatingly handsome. "Hi," he said warmly. "Hi," Harper replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "You look beautiful." "Thank you." "You too." She paused. "I mean, you look good too," he smiled. "Ready?" Harper grabbed her purse and followed him downstairs. A sleek black car waited, but not a limousine. Just an elegant sedan. Dominic opened the door for her, and she slid into the passenger seat. "Where are we going?" Harper asked as they pulled away from her building. "It's a surprise," Dominic said. "Do you trust me?" She looked at him, at the profile that had become strangely familiar, and realized she did. Yes, they drove toward the coast, away from the city lights. Dominic asked about her photography, and Harper found herself opening up about her dream projects. About a photo series she wanted to create, but had never secured funding for. He listened intently, without pretense, and Harper felt her anxiety slowly melting away. This was not scary. He was still the same person who had held her hand in the darkness. They arrived at a small restaurant by the ocean. Wooden tables, string lights, the sound of waves crashing nearby. Nothing fancy or pretentious. "I thought you'd like this better than some stuffy five-star place," Dominic said. "You were right," Harper answered. Smiling genuinely over fresh seafood and cold beer, they talked about everything. Dominic shared how he had grown up in Miami, how his mother had cleaned houses to pay for his education, how he had started his first company in a garage. Money came later, he explained. At first, it was just about solving problems. Success was almost accidental. "There's nothing accidental about you," Harper observed. He smiled. "Maybe now. But back then, I had no idea what I was doing. I was scared almost every single day. Success is just fear you learn to live with. Is that what you were doing yesterday at the pool? Living with fear?" Dominic's expression became thoughtful. "I was swimming to clear my head. The opening was important. The pressure was enormous. Then you fell, and all I could think about was making sure you were okay." "My night in expensive swim trunks," Harper teased. "Something like that," he replied with a soft smile. After dinner, they walked along the beach barefoot, leaving their shoes in the car. The full moon painted the water silver. "Can I ask you something?" Dominic said. "Sure." "Back in the shower room, you said photography is all you have. What did you mean?" Harper was quiet for a moment, watching the waves. "I meant that I built my whole life around work. I have almost no one. My parents died when I was a kid. My grandmother, who raised me, passed away 2 years ago. All I have left is my photography. It's the only thing that's truly mine." Dominic stopped walking and looked into her eyes. "I understand that more than you can imagine. After my mother died, I buried myself in work too. It was easier than feeling the pain. Safer than letting anyone into my life. And now?" Harper asked softly. He gazed at the ocean, then back at her. "Now I realize safe isn't the same as happy." He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Harper's breath caught. "Harper, I know this is fast. We met under the strangest circumstances, but I haven't felt this kind of connection with anyone in years. Maybe ever. And I don't want to lose it just because everything's complicated or scary." Harper's pulse raced. "I feel it too. That's what scares me." "Don't be scared," Dominic whispered, touching her cheek. "Be brave. Take a risk with me." He kissed her softly, sweetly, with the promise of something deeper. Harper melted into his embrace, wrapping her arms around his neck. For a moment, the whole world disappeared. There was only this, only them, only the feeling that she was exactly where she belonged. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing heavily, Dominic pressed his forehead to hers. "I should probably take you home," he said reluctantly. "Probably," Harper agreed. But she did not step back. They drove to her apartment, holding hands across the center console. At her door, Dominic kissed her again, slower, deeper, until Harper felt dizzy with wanting. "When can I see you again?" he asked. "Tomorrow," she suggested breathlessly. "Tomorrow," he agreed. "And the day after." "And the day after that?" Harper smiled. "That's a lot of days. I'm a patient man, but not about this," Dominic said. "Not about you." After he left, Harper leaned against her closed door, touching her lips where he had kissed her. This was insane. She was falling for a billionaire she had met by accident, who she had shared a shower with in the dark, and who had just given her the best first date of her life. Everything was too fast, too intense, too incredible. But as she got ready for bed, she realized she did not care. Not everything follows logic or safety. Some things are worth the leap, and Dominic Rhodes was worth it. Facing the outside world, the next 3 weeks felt like a dream. Dominic kept his word, seeing Harper almost every day. They had dinner at cozy diners he loved. They went sailing on his yacht, just the two of them, in the open sea. They spent lazy Sunday mornings in bed, talking about everything and nothing. Harper learned that Dominic woke up early and made incredible coffee, that he had a scar on his left shoulder from a surfing accident at 16, that he collected vintage cameras, which genuinely delighted her. Dominic learned that Harper talked in her sleep, that she had a weird habit of eating cereal for dinner when stressed, that she cried at insurance commercials but not at sad movies. They fit together in a way that surprised them both, but they kept the relationship secret. Dominic wanted to protect his privacy. Harper was still trying to process what it meant to date someone like him. Then Harper got a phone call from Janelle Park, her boss at Coastal Marketing. "The client was thrilled with your work," Janelle said excitedly. "So much so that Dominic Rhodes specifically requested you for his next project." Harper's stomach dropped. "What project?" "He's opening another resort, this time in the Keys. He wants you to do all the photography for the launch campaign." 6-month contract, Harper. "Do you understand what this could mean for your career?" Harper understood. It meant stability, recognition, the chance to expand her portfolio with high-profile work. It was an incredible opportunity, but it was also a potential trap. That evening, when Dominic came over with Thai takeout, Harper confronted him directly. "You requested me for the Keys project?" Dominic set down the food bags carefully. "Yes. Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded. "I was going to," he said. "Tonight, actually." "Harper, you're incredibly talented. I want the best photographer for this project, and that's you. Or do you need an excuse to keep seeing me?" Harper shot back. "That too," Dominic admitted. "What's wrong with that? We work great together. Why not make it official?" "Because it will look like favoritism," Harper said. "People will think I got this job not because of talent, but because of my relationship with you." Dominic's jaw tightened. "Anyone who thinks that is wrong. I've seen your work. It's outstanding." "But they will think it," Harper insisted. "Dominic, I've worked so hard to build my reputation. I can't let people think I'm successful just because of who I'm dating." "So what are you saying?" he asked quietly. "That you'll turn down the job? Or that we can't be together?" Tears stung Harper's eyes. "I don't know. I need to think." Dominic nodded slowly. "Okay, think. But Harper, I won't apologize for wanting to work with you and be with you. I believe we can have both." After he left, Harper spent the night staring at the ceiling. Torn between career and heart, the ex returns the next morning. Harper called Janelle back. "I need to be honest," Harper began, her voice shaking. "Dominic Rhodes and I are involved. We're together. I don't want to take this position under false pretenses. If you think it's a conflict of interest, I'll decline." Silence stretched on the other end. Long, cold, worrying silence. "How involved?" Janelle finally asked. Very, Harper admitted. "It started after the Azure Pearl opening. I didn't want to accept a new role without being transparent." Janelle sighed heavily. "Harper, this is complicated. But your work speaks for itself. I saw what you did for the Azure Pearl launch. It was brilliant. And you finished that project before your relationship became serious, correct?" "Yes, we only started dating after," Harper confirmed. "Then professionally, you're in the clear," Janelle said after a pause. "I can't tell you how to live your life. But if you want this job, it's yours. Just be ready for gossip. I can handle it," Harper replied, though inside she doubted whether that was true. That evening, she told Dominic she was accepting the offer. His face lit up with genuine joy. "You won't regret this," he promised. "I'll give you complete creative freedom. No interference. You better, Harper said with a half smile. Because I'm trusting you, Dominic Rhodes, and I don't take that lightly. I know, he answered, pulling her close, and I'll never betray that trust. The Keys project proved exhausting. Harper spent weeks with her camera in hand, trying to capture every detail of the new resort. Dominic gave her total creative freedom, never directing or interfering. Slowly, Harper realized her fears were unfounded. She really was good at this. Truly good. The photos she created were magnificent. Not because of their connection, but because of her talent. But working together was harder than they had anticipated. Sometimes Dominic would walk onto a shoot location, and Harper had to force herself to maintain a professional tone. Sometimes their eyes would meet across a room, and heat would flare between them that was impossible to hide. 3 months into the project, they had their first real fight. Harper had scheduled a crucial shoot during golden hour, but Dominic suddenly called a meeting with contractors at the same time. I can't miss this light, Harper said. Reschedule the meeting. I can't. There's a foundation problem. We need to address it now, Dominic replied. Let the project manager handle it, Harper countered sharply. You don't have to be everywhere. His face tightened. Harper, this is my resort. I have to be involved in key decisions. This is my project, she flared. You hired me, but you're not letting me work. I'm not canceling the meeting, Dominic said coldly. She stared at him, hurt and angry. Fine. Now I know where your priorities are. Harper turned and walked away. They did not speak for 2 days. 2 long, miserable days. Harper threw herself into work, but everything felt hollow. At night, lying alone in her hotel room, she missed him desperately. Then, near midnight on the second night, there was a knock on her door. Dominic stood there, exhausted, eyes filled with regret. I was wrong, he said without preamble. I should have rescheduled the meeting. You were right. I interfered. Harper let him in. Her anger had faded, leaving only sadness. I'm sorry too, she said quietly. I know how important this resort is to you. I shouldn't have acted like my shoot was more important, but it was more important, Dominic insisted. I've been thinking about everything. About priorities. You said I don't know how to balance work and relationships, and you were right. I'm used to work being everything, but I want to be better. For you, for us, because you're not just a woman I'm dating. You're the person I want to build a life with. Harper's heart skipped a beat. Dominic, love you, he said. His voice was raw with emotion. I know it's only been a few months, but I love you. I love your passion, your talent, the way you see beauty where others see emptiness. I love who I become when I'm with you, and I don't want to lose this because of my stubbornness. Tears rolled down Harper's cheeks. I love you too. So much it scares me. He kissed her softly, with desperate tenderness. That night, everything between them changed. They were closer than ever, understanding that this was not just passion. It was something bigger. The proposal when Harper woke up, Dominic's arm was wrapped around her. His breathing was steady. She studied his face in the early morning light and felt overwhelming gratitude. I can feel you staring, Dominic murmured, without opening his eyes. Can't help it, Harper whispered. You're pretty when you sleep. He opened his eyes and smiled. Move in with me. Harper propped herself up on her elbow. What? Move in with me, he repeated. I want to wake up next to you. Come home to you. I want all of this to be real. Not just dates and occasional nights. Life together. Her heart raced. That's a big step. I know, Dominic said. But I'm ready. The question is, are you? Harper thought about her tiny apartment, the constant feeling of living between 2 worlds. Then she thought about how he made her coffee in the mornings, how she fell asleep in his arms, how for the first time in her life, she felt like she could build something real. Yes, she said. I'll move in with you. Dominic's smile was brighter than the sun. Moving in was easier than they expected. Dominic's penthouse was huge, with spacious rooms where Harper could set up all her photo equipment. He converted an entire room into a studio with professional lighting and her own darkroom. This is too much, Harper protested when she saw it. It's perfect, Dominic corrected. You need space to create. I want to support you. They found their rhythm. Mornings started with coffee and tangled limbs. Evenings they cooked together, playfully arguing about who washed dishes. Weekends, they explored Miami, finding new locations for photos, experiencing new things. But the rumors Janelle had warned about began materializing. Industry blogs wrote about Harper and Dominic. Some told their story with admiration, others with cruelty, calling Harper a gold digger who used her looks to trap a billionaire. Don't read that garbage, Dominic said when he found Harper scrolling through a particularly vicious article. They don't know us. They don't know what we have. But they're writing about me, Harper said. About my work? They're saying I don't deserve the success I have. Dominic took the phone from her hands. The only opinion that matters is yours and mine. And the opinion of people who see your work, everyone else is just noise. Easy for you to say, Harper muttered. You're used to this, Dominic said seriously. I hate it as much as you do. But I learned you can't control what people say. You can only control your reaction. I react by living, by being happy, by not letting them steal my joy. Harper looked at him, at the man who had gone from stranger to lover to partner in just months, and felt her worry ease. He was right. They knew the truth. That was enough. The Keys Resort opened 6 months after the project began. Harper's photographs were everywhere. Billboards, magazines, social media. The response was rapturous. Harper's career skyrocketed. She started getting invited to new projects. Major clients valued her unique vision. And through it all, Dominic supported her, celebrated her wins, comforted her through doubts, and never made her feel like his success mattered more than hers. One evening, about a year after they had met, Dominic came home with nervous energy Harper had never seen. What happened? She asked. Nothing, Dominic said. I just have something for you. Pulled out a small box from his pocket, and Harper's heart stopped. Dominic, let me say this first, he interrupted, opening the box. Inside sparkled a stunning ring. Harper, a year ago, you fell into my pool. Literally. And that ridiculous accident became the best thing that ever happened to me. You made me laugh, challenged me, showed me what it means to share life with someone. I don't want to spend another day not knowing your mind forever. Will you marry me? Harper was crying, nodding frantically. Yes, of course, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her like she was the most precious thing in the world. That night they celebrated, loved each other, and made plans, talking about the future. Lying in his arms, watching Miami lights twinkle outside the window, Harper remembered the day at the pool. The day she fell, the darkness of the shower. The hand of a stranger who became everything. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best. Sometimes accident is fate in disguise. And sometimes the person you meet in your most vulnerable moment becomes the person you spend your life with. A new chapter begins. The engagement became a sensation. Dominic Rhodes, one of Miami's most eligible billionaires, was no longer single. The story of their meeting, carefully presented without the intimate shower details, became a romantic legend. Photographer falls in pool at resort opening. Ends up engaged to the CEO. Almost too perfect. But not everyone was happy for them. 2 weeks after the engagement, Harper received a call from a woman named Brooke Ashton. I represent the Ashton Gallery in New York, Brooke said, smoothly and professionally. We'd like to organize a solo exhibition of your work. Harper's heart leaped. The Ashton Gallery was one of the most prestigious in the country. A solo show could take her to an entirely new level. I'm very interested, Harper said carefully. They scheduled a meeting for the following week in New York. Harper could barely contain her excitement. When she told Dominic that evening, she expected joy. Instead, his face became tense.
Ashton Gallery?
He repeated, Yes. What's wrong? Do you know it? I know Brooke Ashton, Dominic said carefully. We dated about 3 years ago. Something cold settled in Harper's stomach. You dated the woman who wants to exhibit my photography? For about 6 months, Dominic confirmed. It ended badly. She wanted more than I could give at the time. Specifically marriage.
Ah,
And now she's suddenly interested in my photography, Harper said slowly, right after our engagement is announced. Dominic's jaw tightened. I know how it looks. It looks like your ex is trying to mess with our life, Harper said. Or maybe she genuinely likes my work. Maybe, Dominic said, but his tone suggested doubt. What do you want to do? I want to meet her, Harper decided. If this is a legitimate opportunity, I can't pass it up just because of your history with Brooke. I understand, Dominic said, but be careful. Brooke can be manipulative when she wants something. Harper felt slight irritation. I can handle myself, Dominic. I'm not a naive girl who can't see hidden motives. I know, he quickly replied. I just don't trust her. Not when it comes to us. The meeting in New York initially justified all of Harper's hopes. The Ashton Gallery was magnificent. White walls, perfect lighting. Brooke was beautiful in the way only wealthy women manage. Long blonde hair, expensive designer suit. Your work is extraordinary, Brooke said, leading Harper through the gallery. The way you convey emotion, vulnerability, that's exactly what we're looking for. That's incredibly flattering, Harper said, feeling her heart race. Thank you. A solo show here could radically change your career, Brooke continued. Of course, there are some conditions. We want exclusive rights to represent you for at least 2 years. And we need you to create a new collection specifically for the exhibition. Something that pushes you beyond your comfort zone.
What time long?
Harper asked cautiously. 6 months to prepare, then the exhibition, Brooke answered. It will be intense. You'll probably need to spend at least part of the time in New York working with our creative director. Harper's excitement dimmed slightly. 6 months of intense work while she and Dominic were just starting to plan their wedding. That's a serious commitment, she said carefully. Brooke's smile was too knowing. All the best opportunities require sacrifice. The question is, are you ready to put your career first? Or has Dominic Rhodes already convinced you his interests matter more than yours? The words were sharp as a blade. Harper felt everything inside her tense. My relationship with Dominic has nothing to do with my career. Really? Brooke raised an eyebrow slightly. Before meeting him, you were a talented but little-known photographer. Now you have contracts, magazines, exhibitions. How much of that is your achievement? And how much is simply the status of being Dominic Rhodes' fiancé? Everything is my work, Harper said firmly. Dominic never interfered. He always pushed me to take risks, to grow creatively. Brooke smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Of course he says that. But men like Dominic don't choose equals. They collect us. Beautiful, talented, convenient, as long as we decorate their lives. But the moment we start shining brighter, they find a way to dim the light. You don't know Dominic, Harper whispered. And you don't know our relationship. I know more than you think, Brooke answered coldly. I, too, once built my whole world around him, until I realized he would never let me truly shine. Is that what you want? To be Dominic Rhodes' wife before being a photographer? The words hit the most vulnerable spot. Not because Harper believed them, but because they touched her deepest fears. Those that whispered at night, what if you didn't earn all this? What if it's only because you're with him? Thank you for the offer, Harper said, standing. But I need to think, of course, Brooke said, with impeccable politeness. Just remember, chances like this don't come often, especially for women in your position. Harper left the gallery feeling like everything was trembling inside. On the plane back to Miami, she replayed the conversation over and over, trying to understand where Brooke's manipulations ended and her own doubts began. When she got home, she was exhausted. Dominic was waiting, and from her face, he immediately knew something had happened. What did Brooke say? He asked. Harper told him everything. With each word, his face darkened. She's trying to sow distrust between us, he said when she finished. Harper, how much of my success came from your connections, your influence? Pain flashed in his eyes. Do you really think I've been secretly pulling strings? I don't know, Harper admitted, voice shaking. I just need to know that everything I have, I earned myself. He was silent for a long time. Then he said quietly, "Come with me." He led her to his office and opened his laptop. Here's the email with your firm's proposal for the Azure Pearl project. The date is before we met. I chose your company based on the portfolio where your name was already listed. You were talented long before you met me. He opened other documents. Here are the keys, project contracts. C. Same price as any other photographer. No special treatment. He clicked another file. And this is a proposal I sent to the Ashton Gallery 3 months ago, before Brooke called you. I recommended you because you're exceptional talent, not because you're my fiancé. Tears filled Harper's eyes. You recommended me to Brooke? I often recommend artists to galleries, Dominic explained. It's part of my work. I didn't know she'd use it to hurt you. But Harper, every opportunity you got was yours. I never use my connections for your success. What you have is what you earned. Something loosened inside her. I'm sorry. I should have trusted you. Brooke just confused me. It's her game, Dominic said gently. She finds weak spots and presses on them. But you have to believe in yourself the way I believe in you. Your talent is yours alone. Harper threw herself at him, hugging him tightly as if afraid to let go. I love you. Sorry, I doubted. I love you too, Dominic answered quietly, holding her close. Sorry, my past keeps interfering with your present. They stood embracing like time had stopped. Then Harper slowly pulled back. I need to call Brooke. Tell her I'm not interested in the exhibition. Why? Dominic asked quietly. If it's a real opportunity, if it's what you want, you should take it. Don't let someone else's games rob you of what could be genuine. But the timeline. 6 months in New York, just as we're planning the wedding, then we'll change the timeline, Dominic said calmly. Or I'll come to New York with you. Harper, I meant it. I'll support your career. If this show matters to you, we'll make it work. She looked into his eyes and saw only sincerity. You'd really move to New York for 6 months? I'd move to the moon if your dream took you there, he simply answered. I want you happy. I want you to reach your potential, even if I have to sacrifice something. Harper kissed him, pouring all her love and gratitude into that kiss. How did I get so lucky? She whispered. We both got lucky, Dominic replied. That day, you fell into my pool. The next day, Harper called Brooke. I've thought about your offer, she said, and I agree. But I have conditions. I'm listening, Brooke responded. First, the timeline needs to be flexible. I'm getting married next year, and that's not negotiable. We'll adjust the schedule around that. Second, I want complete creative control. You can advise, but final decisions are mine. And finally, I want it in the contract that this exhibition has nothing to do with Dominic. Your interest is only in my work. Silence hung in the air. Then Brooke laughed dryly. You're more like Dominic than I thought. All right. Let my lawyer prepare the contract. Excellent, Harper said. Then we have a deal. The journey to motherhood the next months became the most intense and inspiring of Harper's life. She split time between Miami and New York, creating a new photo series about finding oneself and internal transformation. Dominic kept his promise, flying to her weekly, never complaining about fatigue or inconvenience. He was simply there. Wedding planning happened in rare free minutes between shoots and editing. They decided on a modest beach ceremony. Just close friends and family. No pomp, no excessive glitter. Just them, the ocean, and vows spoken toward the sunset. 2 weeks before the wedding, the exhibition opened at the Ashton Gallery. The walls were decorated with Harper's photographs. Each seemed to bear her soul. The opening was packed. Critics, collectors, art lovers. Brooke gave a speech about new talents, but Harper barely listened. She watched people looking at her work, how they froze, how they whispered. This was why she created. Not for fame, not for money, but for real emotions. The reviews exceeded all expectations. The New York Times called her photographs piercing and vulnerable, a masterclass in emotional honesty. Art Forum put her portrait on the cover. Within a week, she had sold half the exhibition and received orders for months ahead. But the best moment came later at the after-party. Dominic pulled her aside. I'm so proud of you, he said, eyes shining. This is all you, Harper. Your vision, your work, your talent, and it's breathtaking. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I couldn't have done it without you. Without your faith in me, you would have, he said firmly. But I'm happy to be part of your journey. He kissed right there in the hall, among her photographs, closing the circle. A chance meeting had turned into conscious partnership. Each detail, planned or not, had become part of their story. 2 weeks later, they stood on a Miami beach surrounded by loved ones. Harper in a simple white dress, barefoot in the sand. Dominic in a shirt with rolled sleeves. No tie. I promise to support your dreams, even when it's inconvenient, Dominic said, and guests laughed through tears. I promise to challenge you, not let you settle for less, and love you as you are. For my whole life, I promise to let you support me. Even when my pride gets in the way, Harper replied, voice trembling. I promise to believe in us, even when the world is against us, and love you not for what you can give me, but for who you are. My partner, my love, my home. When their lips met, the sun sank into the ocean, painting the sky gold and pink. It was a moment Harper would have photographed if she were not living it. Later at the reception, dancing their first dance. Dominic leaned close and whispered, Remember, you said falling in the pool was the worst day of your career? Harper laughed. I remember. I was too dramatic then. And now? Dominic asked. Now I know it was the best accident of my life, Harper said. The day that changed everything. It's 2 happy accidents, Dominic said, spinning her under his arm. Up to happy accidents? Harper repeated as they danced under the stars, surrounded by love, laughter, and the promise of all future days. Harper silently thanked fate, chance. That force which made her lose balance that day. Because sometimes you need to fall before you learn to fly. And sometimes the person who catches you turns out to be the one you were searching for all along. The greatest gift-married life suited them. Harper and Dominic found an easy rhythm, combining career with building a shared future. Harper kept her studio in the penthouse but also rented a small gallery. She could meet clients and show work. Dominic continued developing his resort empire, but made time for what mattered most. Lazy Sunday mornings in bed, spontaneous weekend trips, quiet moments that make marriage real. 6 months after the wedding, Harper woke up with nausea. She blamed it on dinner from the night before, but when the discomfort did not pass for 3 days, she decided to take a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. Harper stared at the test for a full minute. Her emotions swung between fear and joy. They had not been trying for a baby, but they had not been particularly careful either. And now it was real. She was pregnant. When Dominic came home that evening, Harper handed him the test wrapped in a box with tiny baby shoes she had bought spontaneously. What's this? He asked, surprised, looking at the gift. Open it, Harper said, trembling. Dominic unwrapped the box and saw the test. His eyes widened. He looked at Harper, then back at the test. Jor. We're having a baby, Harper confirmed. We're going to be parents. For a moment, Dominic just stood there, processing the news. Then his face broke into the biggest smile Harper had ever seen. He leaped across the room, picked her up, and spun her in a circle. We're having a baby. He laughed and cried at the same time. Harper clung to him, tears streaming down her cheeks. You're happy, right? Happy? That's an understatement, he said, gently setting her down. His hands rested on her still flat stomach. There's a person in there. Our person. Half you, half me.